So Dave, I'm happy to talk to you, man. I've heard about this Certified Security Studio Risk Assessor program that you put together,
Yeah,
CSSRA, because I think we need another acronym because we're short of those. But anyway, the
yeah,
Certified
yeah.
Security Studio Risk Assessor uh, program. Tell me what it is. What is this thing?
When John and I were first having these conversations, was that there really is no standardization for this. So, how do we know if we're doing the right thing? How do we define what is a standard that we can build off of? But really, the spirit of it is in understanding what are risk assessments, where do they fit in the overall life cycle of building out an information security program, and not only that, but how can we help teach people how to ensure that what they do is objective, repeatable, and scalable. So whether they're supporting multiple clients or they're within their organization, wherever there's turnover and things like that, that there's an established consistency in the approach to delivering them.
That's
So,
awesome, man. So I'm looking at the webpage now. It's www.securitystudio.com/courses/CSSRA. And I'm on the website and I'm reading it and I'm like, man, I've been doing this a long time. I've been in information security, done, God, I don't know how many risk assessments. And I'm thinking back to when I started in this industry doing risk assessments, how nice it would have been to have guidance on what is a risk assessment? How do I do it? How do I communicate it? How do I compile all the results, write the reports? I mean, there's so much to it. And I think when I look at the industry, there are so many people uh, that do it wrong, to be honest. I think
mhm.
take shortcuts. Risk assessments themselves have gotten a bad name. Uh, but knowing what I know now, that information security is risk management. That's what the name of the game is. That's You can chase compliance all day long. You can keep installing new tools that you don't know how they work, that aren't providing value, or you could do it the right way, which is risk management. I can't manage something that I don't understand. So it only makes sense that I need to do a risk assessment. There's lots and lots of bad risk assessments. Those are ones that, maybe I'm doing it for the wrong motivation. They produce results that aren't actionable. I don't know what to do with it when I'm done with the risk assessment. So I really like this course because I think if I would have had something like this 20, 25 years ago, it would have saved me countless hours of pain, suffering, sleepless nights, near
Yeah,
burnout. Uh, so I love the course. I love how you didn't cut corners on the course, um, because you could. What we like nowadays is just, I sit there for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour maybe. Uh, just give me the TLDR version of this thing, but this is not that way. This is foundational. It's comprehensive. It's hands-on. So I love what you put together, which leads to the next question. Why did you do this?
part of that answer is you. To be straight up, I mean, the North Star in how this is put together is the mission to fix a broken industry, and as I've done so much in the CVCSO program and learned how you've built that, and really what it's not so much what you put in there, but knowing why you put it in there, and why it has value. I've done risk assessments, like you, a long time, and there's been a lot of lessons learned, and just how can we help others do better, and it elevates the risk assessor themselves, but it produces a much higher quality deliverable for the organization getting it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. There's so much confusion in the information security industry, and a lot, even the people, and people will balk at that. They'll say, well, I'm not confused. But then you ask them simple questions like, what is information security? How do you manage information security? How do you communicate? Who's ultimately responsible for information security within an organization? And based on the answers you get back from people, it's sad that they're confused and they don't even know that they're confused, because ultimately the people that are responsible for information security in the organizations you're serving isn't you. It's not the vCISO, it's not the CISO, it's the board of directors, it's the CEO. So then I need to communicate to them. I may understand what the situation looks like, because I've been asked so many times by business leaders, Evan, just give me one thing, just one thing. I can't, it's so confusing, all this other stuff. Just give me one thing. The one thing is situational awareness, understanding the situation that you're in. And so and then also knowing that the worst decisions you can make around risk management are the ones where you lack context. You don't understand where this fits into everything else. So risk assessments that are measurable, objective, provide that risk, that context for the risks, and can communicate it to the people who are ultimately responsible for all of this. Those are priceless things. I hear a lot that, CISOs are struggling with budget. I can't get budget. Well, the reason often you can't get budget is, one, you're not speaking the language of business, which is accounting, it's money.
Yeah.
So you have to put it into that language. And number two, you're not communicating, you're not justifying what that budget comes from. So there's so many things I could say about why this course is needed. And when I look at the structure, I didn't build this course, you did. When I look at the structure of this course from an objective standpoint of somebody who didn't develop it, so I'm not biased on this, it's like,
Sure.
man, you did a really good job. You didn't cut corners. And the reason why we don't cut corners is because every corner that I cut, I'm cutting context out of that picture, out of that situational awareness. So Dave, I think let me back up a second, because some people may not know you. And I want to introduce you. I should have done this at the beginning. You're the executive director of the Security Studio Academy. So your job is building these amazing, I think, courses, programs, and then delivering them to people, which leads to my next question. What can someone attending this course expect to walk away with?
Sure, sure. But even before touching on that, you hit something, because even as I say, having completed the other courses you've provided, I was able to bring into this those levels of communication and understanding where budget fits in. So there's a section in there, and even if somebody's been doing these for a long time, there's a simple section in there that just gives common terminology, risk, threat, situational awareness, all of these things where we give them a definition so there's a common understanding of what those words mean. And I even put in there a non-technical analogy of what it is. So whoever the risk assessor is, if there's someone brand new, maybe they, what we joke about being IT hardened, so they know, but you kind of forget that other executives haven't memorized those acronyms, that you can literally go back to the course at any time, look what those are, and then say, well, here, if I explain it to you this way, is this helpful? And it gives just a higher level of communication opportunity that we don't see in other stuff. But I just wanted to add that in there. But to try and best answer
And
your
on
question.
and on
Oh,
definitions, man, anybody can define anything they want. What makes a definition of a really good, valid definition, because I want to qualify that, quantify that, it's a defensible definition. So it's a definition that I can use as a student of this course and defend it. So if somebody says, well, I disagree with your definition, you can break it down and defend why that definition is the definition that it is and why it's valid. So I had to interject that, because when you said definitions, I've heard that so many times where, well, risk is this. Even something as, crazy as there's such a thing as positive risk. No, there's not. There's no such thing as positive risk. Risk is always based on a negative outcome, a consequence for a poor decision, or a decision where there was a lack of defense. So anyway, I had to say that again. Sorry, man. What do people get out of this course?
Appreciate it. It's designed for people of all levels of experience. So somebody will come in and initially learn what is a risk assessment and why are risk assessments as important as they are. And so when you're building out an information security program, it really is that first domino. So we really start with the why this exists, and then we methodically go through. I think there's 10 chapters altogether of foundational information about what a risk assessment is, and then it gets into how to prepare for one. So you know what to reach out to your clients on what you're asking for, communicating timelines, communicating expectations, and ensuring that everybody understands what the composite objective or the definition of success coming out of this is. So we teach what you need to know, what you need to do in preparing for it, in delivering it, and then as you've delivered it, reviewing, checking yourself, double checking your notes, double checking what you captured and who gave you that information. So before you wrap it all up, you have a well-defined story to explain. There's your defendability, and then from there, it's how to deliver it, in a clear, transparent manner. It isn't going in with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but at the same time, it's not taking it lightly. It's this is what we found. It's like going to the doctor. You don't want the doctor to just kind of surface it or tell you you're terminal in 40 years. That doesn't help. So you can talk, and that's where a lot of those analogies try to come in, so you can meet the people that you're delivering the findings to, and then as you and really emphasizing being patient, meeting them where they are, understanding their questions are very important to them, and they're not necessarily questioning what you did. They're trying to process how we got where we are with the results of it, and then from there we can put together a roadmap, collaboratively with the client, by understanding what we found, the gaps that we found, and from a business perspective, prioritizing them, and then being able to work forward from there. The whole course is designed to be vendor agnostic, but we do use the Security Studio S2 org platform, because it would just be one thing to say, this is what you need to know, and here's a body of knowledge. So really the capstone in this is to conduct a mock risk assessment. Get in there, look at the questions, understand what the questions are, the meaning behind them, navigating through all of that, double checking, applying. This is why I say following your courses was an invaluable kind of North Star. Even like in the CVC course, the first half is what do you need to know, the body of knowledge. And then the second half is, all right, what do you, now that you got it, what are you going to do with it? So we do give people the opportunity to walk through that. And the way we have the course is somebody can take it online on their own. You can all the information's there. You can log in, but we do support it with some classes where we recommend to the students go through the lesson first, so the class is more of a review, and then we can talk about where you had questions, or even in a safe space, if you are working to deliver one for a client and you have unique questions about that, you can hit us up and we'll share our experiences. Maybe some other students have some experiences, but we want to give that well-rounded perspective. And so somebody walks away with all of that. And the way that we modeled the course is normally we figure it takes about 90 days to work through the course, but we bundled it in where a student gets an additional year of access. So even if you've been doing these and you go back and you want to revisit something, the knowledge is there and accessible for you, because it's really intended that we've talked about it, dude. It's mission, money, or ego. And this is driven by mission. So if we can make that information available to help that person help themselves, everybody wins.
Well, that's
So,
great, man. And you mentioned, I mean, the fact of the matter is every single organization, and it doesn't matter if you're 2 employees, doesn't matter if you're 200,000 employees, every organization needs an information security risk assessment. Unless you just somehow magically inherently know where your most significant risks are, where your most significant unacceptable risks are, so that you know where to spend that next information security dollar. In a two-person employee or two-employee company, maybe you know that, because you do have so much situational awareness. But as things get more complicated, complexity is the worst enemy. So, going through the fundamentals like this is tremendously valuable for every organization, whether it's a client that you're serving as a third party, or it's
mhm.
your own organization where you're an employee there. Uh, there's no prerequisites, like you said, there's no prerequisites for this course. So what you get out of this course, from what I'm reading and what I understand from you, is from beginning to end, you're going to teach me, if I've never done an information security risk assessment before, you're going to teach me everything that I need to know to do an outstanding information security risk assessment and make it actionable. If I'm somebody who's already got experience and I've done information security risk assessments, don't fool yourself into thinking that you know everything, because in 30 years of information security practitioner experience, I still don't know everything. So when I go through courses, I don't mind going through courses like this, because I always pick up little nuggets like, oh man, I forgot about that. I should apply that. I should, I've lost
Yeah.
track of something. Or you'll teach me a new technique, another perspective. When you talk about context, you get context from perspective. So if I get another perspective from somebody else, whether you've got 20 years experience or 2 minutes of experience, it's a perspective that's valuable that I can bring to my own work. So I love it. I think so. No experience, you're going to learn everything you need to know to do an information security risk assessment like an expert. For somebody who's already done it, you're just going to be better.
Yeah, it's
But,
it's it's kind of like you're reading the book for the first time, and
mhm.
you're going to get out of it what you can. But if you go back and reread the book, you're going to build on you're going to realize what you may have missed the first
Right.
time. And yeah, and actually, I forgot to mention it, but I think one of the things when John and I were first having these conversations, and where the CVCSO program was an inspiration on it, was that there really is no standardization for this. So, how do we know if we're doing the right thing? How do we define what is a standard that we can build off of? So,
Awesome, man. I love it. So tell me, I think this is super cool. Uh, I'll take the course for sure. Um, but when is it
yeah,
available?
it goes live March 30th. We've been
All right.
just working to build out the content. All the content's been created, and we're working on the other parts of it. There is a certification exam. So you're going to do the risk assessment, you're going to get the body of knowledge, you're going to get the practical experience, and then there is a assessment exam at the end. And that's what gets somebody certified. So right now we're
Awesome.
building out the exam part of it, and everything will be live and ready to go March 30th. So
All right.
super
So it's
excited.
available March 30th. And how can somebody register? Is it as simple as just going to securitystudio.com/courses/CSSRA?
Yeah, if somebody's heard enough and they're sold, that'll do it. But if you have any questions, or you want to get more information, or there's additional things that we can provide, contact myself, D Tuckman at securitystudio.com, or Andy Covert, the Academy's account executive at A Covert, Covert, at securitystudio.com.
All right, man.
Yeah.
One last time, securitystudio.com/courses/CSSRA. That's awesome, man. Certified Security Studio Risk Assessor. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. No, thank you, and really appreciate the opportunity to be in an environment to help bring things like this towards the market. Oh, yes.
That's right. Guest appearance.